Well, today I am talking to my friend Marilyn, and Marilyn is an expert in Boston Metro South, Metro Southwest, and Rhode Island as well. So she covers quite an area, and I'm so excited to talk to her today. Hey, Marilyn, how are you?
Hi, good. How are you? Good to be here.
I'm I'm great. So today, I just know you're such an expert in these areas, and you're such a leader in Keller Williams. And I really want to talk to you and give people an idea about what's going on in the real estate market in your area. So, but before we do that, can you let everyone know, who you are and kind of how you got into real estate?
Sure. My name is Marilyn Burke. My background is in teaching, and I owned a weight loss franchise. And it's actually two of my clients were real estate agents, and they introduced me to the field and said, "Hey, have you ever thought of getting licensed?" And I said no. And then the owner, Fred, kept encouraging me. He was with Keller Williams. So I got licensed and I've been doing real estate ever since. This is my 21st year.
Wow, that's awesome. I love that.
Mhm.
Great. Well, so you live in the Boston Metro South Southwest area. Can you kind of go into what areas you cover, all the different cities that you would cover?
Sure. There's about, so when you talk about Boston Metro South, what you're talking about is the suburbs of Boston. So I'm not in the city. I grew up in Norwood, which was about 25 minutes southbound. Then I raised the kids in Canton, which is right next to Norwood. And then my husband and I traveled further south because my mom and dad were from Providence. So I actually got dually licensed because my family, my cousins and roots are in my from my mom and dad, they're all in Rhode Island. So I'm about 15 minutes from the Rhode Island border. So if you go 30 minutes from Boston and keep traveling, my grid makes a crisscross, like a cross, a spiritual cross. I go north to south and east to west, and it's about an 18-mile radius. So I'm a strong listing agent. That means I help people sell, I stage properties. So buying, when they have to buy, I will stop at the bridges and people in Mass and will know what that means. But I don't go over the Tobin Bridge. I don't go over the Cape Cod Bridge. I don't go over the Newport Bridge. And there is no bridge the other way, not close in proximity, but it gives people a frame of reference how far I'll travel.
Okay. So I know you mentioned Canton, Norwood. Is that also an area where Foxborough is and some of those other cities?
I am 10 minutes from Foxborough, which is where the Patriots play. So if you know the stadium, we're literally 10 minutes. We can throw a rock. I walk the stadium in the morning, and it's a beautiful walk. It's huge and it's open to the public. So I'm very close there. So, and that brings me on the 495 belt. So 95 and 495 intersect like a crisscross.
Okay. So as far as Rhode Island goes, since you're 15 minutes from Rhode Island, are there certain areas of Rhode Island you cover? Is that northern Rhode Island? What cities in Rhode Island, for
It's
example?
considered Northern Rhode Island. And for Rhode Island, my sister's in Bristol. My dad was born in Newport, and my cousins are in Cranston and Warwick. So I'll travel pretty far in. The proximity to get to and from Rhode Island is easy. Within 45 to 60 minutes, I can get from one end of the state to the other. So it's not as big to travel. So I can spread out, Rhode Island has a lot more options. I'm still predominantly in Mass though.
Okay. And of course, as we know, Rhode Island, the smallest state, so that makes a lot of sense that it's very easy to go and get across. So let's
Yes.
talk about what's going on, for example, in your area in South and Southwest, that metro area. Over the years, it
Mhm.
it seems to become more popular, people moving kind of maybe away from the city and those really closer suburbs to your area. who are you seeing that's coming to your area? Is it families? Is it people moving from out of state?
Yes, we see a lot of, well, it starts when they're in college. We see a lot of migration. Um, Students that want to study the math and sciences. Boston has the top-notch schools for nursing programs and medicine, and with MIT and Harvard, and we have a mecca of higher education. So I think it attracts talented individuals who are in the top of their class because that's the college environment, and that's all in the Boston and area surrounding Boston, let me say. So that's where the beginning is. And the migration pattern seems to be out to the suburbs of Boston. So I've moved families, relocated them to Rhode Island from, oh my goodness, all sorts of different places, Illinois, Atlanta, Kentucky. I've had people go and then in reverse to Kansas, to the Carolinas. So Florida, we see people that leave Mass to go to Florida, but we also see Floridians that buy here for summertime. So it's an interesting dynamic with Cape Cod and what happens in the summer.
It is very interesting. And you mentioned the universities.
Mhm.
So, for example, yes, you have Harvard, you have MIT, you have Berkeley School of Music, you have things that bring people from all over the world, all really, literally all over the world,
Yep.
all over the country, sciences and math and things like that, some of the top universities in the world. So, of course, that brings a lot of educated people to Boston, and a lot of those people, some like to live in the city, but imagine coming from another country and then maybe you want to start a family, maybe moving to the suburbs makes sense. So let's talk about, for example, in your area, do you see a lot of people downsizing? I want to talk about that because it's such a big population right now in the United States, not just in your area, that's downsizing. So they're moving from these larger homes maybe to a one level or something smaller. Have you seen a lot of that in your area?
Yeah, so I'm the Canton Lions Club president. So we have a talk at the senior center tomorrow. We do a lot of collaborative work with the senior community. So there's two populations right now. It's the baby boomers, so about 59 years old and above, who need a not necessarily a smaller house. So when they say downsizing, kids that have graduated and they're looking for a different product. So they could move to the city. They could enjoy being on foot, or some people like to be near the water. But that's one population, baby boomers. And then the children that they have are the millennials, the 32-year-olds and above. Millennials, they're showing that the average age of first-time home buyers is now 37, where it used to be early 30s. So kids are staying home longer, which keeps parents in their homes longer. The other thing, there seems to be a migration to the over 55 communities. And then we have a lot of senior care facilities that are being built. So Massachusetts is responding to those needs by offering some housing for seniors. And I'm going to say that's the 75 and above group that needs some type of nursing care in addition, or maybe preemptive before they have a medical need. Then you have the over 55 communities that are the early birth, newer retirees. And then some people just, because to get a ranch style, a lot of the mass homes actually were built, the average age in Massachusetts is 1965 of a home. And that style was a multi-level or like a raised ranch, they call it.
Hmm.
So I hope that answered your question. Did that?
Yes. Well, first of all, just
Okay.
to your point, I can definitely see 1965 being an average age because, of course, we have to remember, Boston's a very old city. We have to also remember that and I don't know how many are in your area, but in Boston and even maybe going toward the suburbs, there are tri-level, what do you call them? Triple decker homes and all sorts of multi-family homes that are a lot older. So I can definitely see that. And then when you just mentioned building, so for those senior communities and not necessarily assisted living, but those communities where they're offering a lot of different activities for seniors. For example, I don't know if in Massachusetts you have this, but we have Del Webb, which is a community that has ranch one level homes with these amazing community centers that offer a lot of activities. So you are seeing a lot of new builds in your area, is that right?
Yes, they're spread out and it appears as though they're trying to keep them in one location. So they'll put an anchor store that covers most of their needs, like a wholesale shopping club or a supermarket.
Mhm.
And then there's little coffee shops so they can walk to the services. Everything's close by and sort of designed. You'll see a lot of copycat shopping plazas with Target or TJ Maxx or there's one store of everything, a CVS, and it really keeps people in their little pockets, their little community pockets. I feel like that was a migration pattern that I started noticing in real estate.
Yeah, for sure. Well, let's kind of get a sense of what is going on real quick in your area. So, what if there's buyers or sellers out there? What do they need to know right now about what's going on in real estate in your area? Say they're thinking of buying or selling. What do they need to know?
Well, they need to know that we're in a seller's market still. So if the home is priced right, they'll probably be in multiple offers and it's very competitive. So it's communicating with their agent about, as a buyer, on how they want to bid. Sellers have it a little bit easy. Their house doesn't necessarily have to be so perfect right now to sell it because there's the supply and demand is off. There's more buyers than there are product. So if your house wasn't in perfect condition, you can get away with it needing a few repairs and you'll still have a buyer for it as long as you don't overprice it. As far as buyers go, the rates are at 6.8% right now, and it's extremely competitive and challenging to win a bid. So you just need a good agent at the helm to help you in those scenarios. Someone who educates and talks to them about home inspections and different variables. But is this plenty for everybody? I feel like many buyers today can town hop and go from one location or one zip code to another very easily, especially if the children are not school age. And there's a lot of good schools in Massachusetts. So it's not like they'll be put into a less desirable school just because they go to a new zip code, if that makes sense. Depends on what
Yes,
they're
it
looking
does.
for.
Yes, that makes sense. So what I'm hearing is it's a great time for sellers. If you're in this area and you're looking to sell, not enough inventory, and it would be a wonderful time to contact Marilyn to sell. But there is hope for buyers. Like you said, maybe they just need to go out a little further, maybe change zip codes, maybe just be a little creative because yes, there aren't enough homes available. It's similar here in Indianapolis right now. We have 1.2 months of inventory and lots of things
Hmm.
go very quickly. If a home is priced correctly here, it can sell very quickly as well. 6 days on the market, very
So,
quickly. However, some of the buyers, even though we have such low inventory, are being a little pickier. So, yes, the seller can try to not update the home, but they may get a little less. So, we're just seeing all sorts of things, probably similar to what you are.
mhm. And as far as where Massachusetts sellers are heading towards the Carolinas. They're taking a left turn. They were always, many of them were heading for Florida, and a lot of the senior population is now going to the Carolinas. Even though Florida is in a buyer's market, it seems to be that there's a lot of problems with the government and with the insurance. So I'm seeing a new migration pattern of many people going to the Carolinas. So, because I'm in
Yes.
that baby boomer age group that's getting ready to, retiring, or they're getting ready to stop work and they're looking for the next step home.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense because, like you said, we talk to people in Florida all the time. You have a call that you run every week, but we're on calls with
Yep.
people from all over the country. And as we know, homeowners insurance is very difficult to get in Florida. Believe it or not, and it is hard to believe, people are actually moving from Florida to Indiana because we have such a low cost of living. Our homeowners insurance is very easy to get. Our property taxes are 1% or less. So there are a lot of things going on in Florida, so
That's
that makes
amazing.
sense.
Yeah.
Yes, it is
Well,
amazing.
we had that one person that was our mutual, in all the, since I've met you through Pivot and the Pivot community, I did have one family that migrated to near your area that we've talked about, and you were able to talk to. So I think that, I don't, I'm learning about the other parts. That was a job transfer situation. And I think it's all about educating too, people that they have choices. Since the pandemic, people can migrate really to any way they want if they work from home. It gives everyone a lot more choices.
Exactly. Well, one final group that I want to talk to you about is investors. And I know that you've worked with investors in the
Yes.
past and you still do. What type of opportunities, and I know in Boston there's lots of opportunities, but let's talk about your area. What kind of opportunities are there for investors? Multifamily homes, or are people looking to buy a single family for Airbnb? What are they doing?
So I have several investors who I've built a relationship with who ask me to look for flips. So I have a foreclosure site that I comb through, and I send them a lot of homes. And it's a rehab situation. I do the analysis on it to see what the ROI, or the return on investment. We use Deal Check and Ballpark. Those are two apps that they can use, and we just do a number analysis. And many investors, my agreement with them is on that house. So what I found with the investor communities are kind of one and done, and they may work with lots of real estate agents. Second type or group wants to do the flip side of it, the remodel side. So I have those people that are looking for work once the house is secured, and I bring in some subcontractors. So I can offer a concierge service to contractors in need. I have people that are on the ready that can help them turn a house quickly. And I tell them this is going to be a flip situation. So it's about speed and accuracy. It's not one or the other. They have to do a great job, but they have to want to get paid. So I always recommend the investors incentivize them for time, because some contractors, they can dilly-dally, or they take on too many jobs at the same time, and then everything slows down. So it's all about the agreement between the investor and the sub. But I would say a lot of people look for multi-family. That's more of a buy and hold situation.
Mhm.
Okay. So that's someone who wants to buy something and then yield a profit from it, not so much someone. So that would be a long-term investor.
So it sounds like
Because
there are.
usually on a two-unit, yes, there are. Excuse me. I'm sorry about that.
Oh, no,
Yes.
that's okay. So there are opportunities for investors, and you're also very well connected in the vendor community, in the community, of course, where you can recommend different vendors. Because I'm assuming, and maybe I'm wrong, a lot of these investors are probably from out of state. Is that right?
Some are, I think the ones that I partner with are more in-state actually,
Okay.
or local to me, because and let me just explain, that's my business model. It would not be time efficient on a relo buyer, for example. So what do I mean by that? They get forced into a very quick decision, And
Mm,
when they're out of state, they may need a second look at the house, or they
sure,
may not understand the bidding. So that might not be, I don't have as many out of state investors. That doesn't mean I wouldn't help them. It's just
sure,
not in my portal right now. I do service a
sure.
lot of repeat clients and in-town clients.
That makes sense. It just always seems like
Yeah.
people from California think that everything else in the country is very cheap. So I know that a lot of people I've spoken with have said people from California like to invest, and I can see that since it's so expensive over there. But I guess my final question for you is if someone was watching this video and they were like, wow, Marilyn is very well connected, she's the expert in the area, what would you tell them their first step would be? Say they were coming from out of state. What would your first step be to trying to figure out where you wanted to live in your area?
The first step? That's a tough question. Um,
Would you want them to
what I would
contact
do
you?
is,
Contact you, number
I would,
one.
yeah, I would do a needs analysis with them. It's basically an interview. I have a format, and it's not really, kind of have to peel the onion a little bit to find out, to really get to somebody's need of what they want. So think of when you paint a room, you have to prep the room, spackle it. You have to do a lot of steps before you apply the paint, right? So looking for a house is the same thing. It's a series of conversations and then we make a plan. I guess that's a really good way to look at it. And I'm like the master project manager, I facilitate. And if you want to find out about how we help, my reviews are on Angie.com. Before they did Google, that's what I've been using. So on Angie's list, I had over 167 reviews, and on Angie, I have about 100 right now. So they can
Wow.
find out what other people said, how I've serviced, or how I can help you. So that might be a good place to start.
Exactly. And that's what we're looking for because basically they need to find an expert who knows everything about the areas and then, put
Right.
together a game plan with you to decide what area is best for them. And it's funny that you said Angie because I don't know if you knew their headquarters was here and they used to have this huge campus
No.
downtown Indianapolis and so many people worked there. But it
Yep.
was awesome. And yes, so I know it very well. Anyway, so that is so helpful. Thank you so much, Marilyn. This is going to give people who are looking to move to your area, again, either
Thank you.
Northern Rhode Island or that metro, Southwest area. It's going to give them a lot of great information. And of course, if you're watching this video, I can put Marilyn's information below and you can get connected to her. But thank you so much, Marilyn. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity and thank you. And anyone can call and I'm happy to answer questions. It's a complimentary consultation. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you
Thanks,
so much,
Jennifer.
Marilyn.